There are no specific requirements for bulb guards covering incandescent bulbs in residential attics. Tube guards are also not required in open fluorescent fixtures located in residential attics. In residential garages, bulb guards are not required for incandescent bulbs. However, their use is recommended for safety, especially when bulbs are near combustible materials. Tube guards are not required for open fluorescent fixtures in residential garages. However, they may be advisable for fixtures located low enough to be accidentally bumped or damaged. Some local building codes may have additional requirements for bulb guards or tube guards. It is important to always consult local authorities for specific regulations in your area. In areas where there is a significant risk of ignition from combustible materials, bulb guards and tube guards may be required to prevent accidental contact and fire hazards. While not always required, bulb guards and tube guards are highly recommended for exposed lighting fixtures in residential attics and garages for several reasons. Firstly, they prevent accidental contact with hot bulbs or sharp edges of fixtures. Secondly, they reduce the risk of ignition by shielding bulbs and fixtures from flammable materials. Thirdly, they protect bulbs from damage, extending their lifespan and reducing the need for frequent replacements. Finally, they give a cleaner and more polished appearance to garages and attics. When considering electrical safety and code compliance, it's important to understand the nuances of requirements versus recommendations. While the National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides a comprehensive set of standards, local jurisdictions often amend or add to these regulations based on specific needs and concerns. Therefore, what might be permissible under the NEC may not be acceptable in a particular city or county. With regards to bulb and tube guards, the NEC addresses general safety concerns related to lighting fixtures, but it doesn't explicitly mandate the use of guards in all residential attics and garages. However, Section 410.16 C1 of the NEC covers the requirements for luminaires and closed closets. This section requires surface-mounted or recessed incandescent luminaires with completely enclosed lamps or listed fluorescent luminaire shall provide a minimum clearance of 12 inches from the storage space. Incandescent luminaires shall be listed for closet use. Additionally, surface-mounted fluorescent luminaires or LED luminaires shall be listed for closet use. This prevents the risk of clothing or stored items coming into contact with hot bulbs. The absence of a specific NEC requirement for bulb guards in attics and garages doesn't negate the importance of safety. Many local codes adopt the NEC as a baseline, but then introduce additional rules tailored to local conditions. For example, a jurisdiction with a history of wildfires might impose stricter rules on ignition sources in attics, leading to a requirement for bulb guards. Similarly, areas prone to seismic activity might mandate guards to prevent broken bulbs from igniting flammable materials after an earthquake. It's crucial to check with the local building department or electrical inspector to understand the specific requirements in your area. They can provide information on any local amendments to the NEC, as well as any other applicable codes or regulations. In addition to code requirements, it's important to consider the practical benefits of bulb and tube guards. Attics and garages are often used for storage, and the presence of flammable materials like cardboard boxes, paper, and chemicals increases the risk of fire. A bare bulb can reach temperatures high enough to ignite these materials, especially if they are in close proximity. Bulb guards provide a physical barrier that prevents accidental contact and reduces the risk of ignition. Similarly, tube guards can protect fluorescent tubes from breakage, which can release mercury vapor into the air. While the amount of mercury in modern fluorescent tubes is relatively small, it's still a hazardous substance that should be handled with care. Tube guards can also prevent shards of glass from scattering if a tube is broken, reducing the risk of injury. From a maintenance perspective, bulb and tube guards can extend the lifespan of lighting fixtures. They protect bulbs and tubes from physical damage, such as being bumped or knocked over. This is especially important in garages, where tools, equipment, and vehicles are often moved around. By preventing damage, guards reduce the need for frequent replacements, saving time and money. The type of bulb or tube guard you choose will depend on the specific application and the type of lighting fixture. For incandescent bulbs, wire cages are a common option. These cages are relatively inexpensive and provide good protection against impact. For fluorescent tubes, plastic or metal sleeves are available. These sleeves slip over the tube and provide a barrier against breakage. When selecting bulb or tube guards, it's important to choose products that are listed by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, or UL, or Intertek, or ETL. This ensures that the guards have been tested for safety and performance. Also, make sure that the guards are compatible with the lighting fixtures you are using. Some guards are designed for specific types of bulbs or tubes, so it's important to check the product's specifications before purchasing. In addition to bulb and tube guards, there are other safety measures you can take to reduce the risk of fire and injury in attics and garages. Firstly, keep these areas clean and free of clutter. Remove any flammable materials that are not needed and store the remaining materials in closed containers. Secondly, install smoke detectors in both the attic and the garage. Test the detectors regularly to make sure they are working properly. Thirdly, use appropriate lighting fixtures for the environment. Choose fixtures that are designed for use in damp or dusty locations and make sure they are properly installed. Finally, have a qualified electrician inspect the electrical wiring in your attic and garage to identify any potential hazards. By following these recommendations, you can create a safer environment for yourself and your family. It's also a good idea to consider alternatives to traditional incandescent and fluorescent lighting. Light-emitting diodes, or LEDs, are becoming increasingly popular due to their energy efficiency, long lifespan, and safety features. LED produce very little heat compared to incandescent bulbs, reducing the risk of ignition. They are also more resistant to breakage than fluorescent tubes, and they don't contain mercury. While LED may have a higher initial cost, they can save you money in the long run due to their lower energy consumption and longer lifespan. When choosing LED for attics and garages, look for fixtures that are rated for use in damp or dusty locations. Also, make sure the fixtures provide adequate illumination for the task at hand. In summary, while bulb and tube guards may not be explicitly required by the NEC in all residential attics and garages, they are highly recommended for safety and fire prevention. Local codes may have additional requirements, so it's important to check with local authorities. By taking these precautions, you can create a safer environment for yourself and your family. To further clarify the different types of bulbs and their safety implications, let's delve into the specifics of incandescent, fluorescent, and LED lighting. Incandescent bulbs, the traditional choice for many years, operate by heating a filament until it glows. This process is highly inefficient, with only a small percentage of the energy consumed being converted into light. The rest is released as heat, which is why incandescent bulbs get so hot. This high heat output poses a fire risk, especially when the bulb is in close proximity to flammable materials. The heat generated by an incandescent bulb can easily ignite paper, cardboard, or other combustible materials, making bulb guards a prudent safety measure in attics and garages. Fluorescent lights, on the other hand, operate by passing an electric current through a gas-filled tube. This current excites the gas, causing it to emit ultraviolet, or UV, light. The UV light then strikes a phosphor coating on the inside of the tube, which converts the UV light into visible light. Fluorescent lights are more energy efficient than incandescent bulbs, but they still produce some heat. The main safety concern with fluorescent lights is the presence of mercury vapor inside the tube. If the tube is broken, mercury vapor can be released into the air, which can be harmful if inhaled. Tube guards can help prevent breakage and reduce the risk of mercury exposure. Light-emitting diodes, or LEDs, represent the latest advancement in lighting technology. LED are semiconductor devices that emit light when an electric current passes through them. They are extremely energy efficient, long-lasting, and produce very little heat. LED are also much more durable than incandescent and fluorescent lights, and they don't contain any hazardous materials. Because of their low heat output and durability, LED are considered to be a safer lighting option for attics and garages. When evaluating the need for bulb and tube guards, consider the specific characteristics of each type of lighting. For incandescent bulbs, guards are highly recommended due to the high heat output. For fluorescent lights, guards are recommended to prevent breakage and mercury exposure. For LEDs, guards may not be as necessary, but they can still provide an extra layer of protection against physical damage. It's also important to consider the location of the lighting fixtures. Fixtures that are located in high traffic areas or near storage areas are more likely to be bumped or damaged. In these areas, guards are especially important. Fixtures that are located in hard-to-reach areas may also benefit from guards, as they can reduce the need for frequent replacements. When installing bulb and tube guards, follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully. Make sure the guards are securely attached to the fixtures and that they don't interfere with the operation of the lights. Inspect the guards regularly for damage and replace them if necessary. In addition to the types of bulbs and the location of the fixtures, the presence of children or pets in the home should also be considered when evaluating the need for bulb and tube guards. Children and pets are more likely to accidentally come into contact with lighting fixtures, and they may not be aware of the dangers of hot bulbs or broken tubes. In homes with children or pets, guards are highly recommended as a precautionary measure. Furthermore, the age of the wiring in the home can also play a role in determining the need for additional safety measures. Older wiring may be more prone to overheating or short circuits, which can increase the risk of fire. In homes with older wiring, it's especially important to take precautions to prevent accidental contact with lighting fixtures. Bulb and tube guards can provide an extra layer of protection and help to reduce the risk of fire. When in doubt, it's always best to err on the side of caution and install guards to protect against potential hazards. Another important aspect to consider is the type of work being performed in the garage. If the garage is used for woodworking, welding, or other activities that produce sparks or debris, bulb and tube guards can help to protect the lighting fixtures from damage. Sparks can ignite flammable materials, and debris can accumulate on the bulbs or tubes, reducing their efficiency and lifespan. Guards can also prevent accidental contact with hot bulbs or broken tubes while working in the garage. When choosing bulb and tube guards, it's important to select products that are appropriate for the specific application. For example, guards that are used in damp or wet locations should be made of corrosion-resistant materials. Guards that are used in areas where there is a risk of impact should be made of durable materials that can withstand the force of a blow. It's also important to choose guards that are easy to install and maintain. Guards that are difficult to install or that require special tools may not be practical for many homeowners. Guards that are easy to clean and maintain will help to ensure that they continue to provide effective protection over time. Finally, it's important to consider the overall appearance of the guards. While safety is the primary concern, guards can also enhance the aesthetics of the lighting fixtures. Choose guards that complement the style of the fixtures and that blend in with the surrounding decor. In some cases, guards can even add a decorative touch to the fixtures. By considering all of these factors, you can make an informed decision about whether or not to install bulb and tube guards in your attic and garage. While guards may not always be required by code, they are a valuable safety measure that can help to protect against fire, injury, and damage. To reiterate, while there may not be explicit mandates universally requiring bulb and tube guards in residential attics and garages, the wisdom of using them often outweighs the minimal cost and effort involved in their installation. The primary purpose of these guards is to mitigate potential hazards. This is achieved by acting as a physical barrier against accidental contact with hot bulb surfaces which could lead to burns, or against the breakage of bulbs or tubes which could lead to cuts from glass shards. In environments like attics, where flammable materials like insulation, stored cardboard boxes, and forgotten textiles are commonly found, the risk of an incandescent bulb igniting these materials is significant. Bulb guards in this setting serve as a crucial preventative measure. They ensure a safe distance between the bulb's hot surface and any nearby combustibles. Garages, on the other hand, pose a different set of risks. These spaces are often active workshops or storage areas for vehicles, tools, and various chemicals. The chance of accidentally bumping into a light fixture or dropping an object that could shatter a bulb is much higher than in other parts of the home. Tube guards, in particular, are useful in garages to prevent fluorescent tubes from breaking upon impact. This is not only a safety measure against glass shards but also against the release of mercury vapor, a hazardous substance found in fluorescent lighting. Local building codes often dictate the specifics of electrical installations and safety measures. These codes can vary widely depending on the location, taking into account factors such as climate, population density, and historical incidents. Always consult with your local building department or a qualified electrician to understand the requirements in your area. They can provide guidance on whether bulb and tube guards are mandated and offer recommendations for the best types of guards to use. It's also wise to remember that codes represent a minimum standard. Exceeding these standards with extra safety precautions is always a responsible decision. Even if your local code doesn't require bulb and tube guards, the benefits they offer in terms of preventing accidents and reducing fire hazards are undeniable. The cost of these guards is relatively low, especially when compared to the potential costs of a fire, an injury, or even the inconvenience of frequent bulb replacements. The peace of mind that comes with knowing you've taken extra steps to protect your home and family is invaluable. From a practical standpoint, the installation of bulb and tube guards is straightforward. Most guards are designed to be easily attached to existing light fixtures with minimal tools or expertise. Regular maintenance, such as cleaning the guards to remove dust and debris, is also simple. In summary, while the specific requirements for bulb and tube guards may vary, their value as a safety measure in residential attics and garages is clear. They provide a cost-effective way to reduce the risk of accidents, prevent fires, and extend the lifespan of your lighting fixtures. Always check your local building codes, consult with a qualified electrician, and consider the specific conditions in your home to make an informed decision about whether to install these guards. And remember, prioritizing safety is always the best approach. When considering the installation of lighting in residential attics and garages, it's essential to understand not only the necessity of bulb and tube guards but also the broader context of electrical safety within these spaces. Attics and garages often present unique challenges due to their potential for harboring flammable materials, exposure to temperature extremes, and the likelihood of physical impacts. Therefore, selecting the appropriate type of lighting fixture and ensuring its correct installation are paramount. Enclosed and gasketed fixtures are recommended for attics and garages, especially in areas where dust, moisture, or flammable vapors may be present. These fixtures are designed to prevent the ingress of contaminants, reducing the risk of fire or electrical hazards. The gaskets create a tight seal between the fixture and the mounting surface, while the enclosure protects the bulb or tube from physical damage. When installing lighting fixtures, it's crucial to adhere to the National Electrical Code, or NEC, and any local amendments. The NEC provides detailed guidelines on wiring methods, grounding requirements, and clearance distances for luminaires. It also specifies the types of wiring and conduit that are permitted in different environments. Using the correct wiring method is essential to prevent electrical shocks and fires. For example, in damp or wet locations, such as garages that are subject to moisture, it's necessary to use moisture-resistant wiring and fittings. Similarly, in areas where the wiring may be exposed to physical damage, it's important to protect it with conduit or other appropriate means. Grounding is another critical aspect of electrical safety. Grounding provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and preventing electrical shock. All lighting fixtures and electrical equipment must be properly grounded in accordance with the NEC. The NEC also specifies minimum clearance distances for luminaires from combustible materials. These clearances are designed to prevent the heat from the bulbs or tubes from igniting nearby materials. It's important to maintain these clearances to ensure that the lighting fixtures operate safely. In addition to following the NEC, it's also important to consider the specific needs of the attic or garage. For example, in attics that are used for storage, it's important to install lighting fixtures that provide adequate illumination for accessing and organizing stored items. Similarly, in garages that are used for woodworking or other activities, it's important to install lighting fixtures that provide bright, shadow-free lighting for performing tasks safely and efficiently. When selecting lighting fixtures for attics and garages, it's also important to consider energy efficiency. Light-emitting diode, or LED, fixtures are an excellent choice for these applications because they consume significantly less energy than incandescent or fluorescent fixtures. LED also have a much longer lifespan, which reduces the need for frequent replacements. Furthermore, LED produce very little heat, which makes them a safer option for attics and garages where flammable materials may be present. In conclusion, while bulb and tube guards are an important safety measure, they are just one component of a comprehensive electrical safety plan for attics and garages. Selecting the appropriate type of lighting fixture, ensuring its correct installation, and following the NEC and local codes are all essential to creating a safe and efficient lighting system. By taking these precautions, you can protect your home and family from electrical hazards.